Hello out there, and welcome to Public Conscience on Radio, the anti-corruption program that is produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOG. We are supported by the MacArthur Foundation. Welcome to the program. I'm Okiri Agbonsurimi, and Adaobi Obiabumo, my colleague on the program, is right in here.
Thank you for joining us on the program. On Public Conscience, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society through the amplification of corruption stories reported by our partner media organizations and drawing citizens and government's attention for democratic actions against it.
Today, we are taking a look at an investigative report carried out by one of our media partners, the Daily Trust newspapers. The report is titled 311 Million Naira Schools Project in Ruins Across FCT Nasarawa, and it has a subtitle 570 million UBEC projects untraceable.
Yeah, the report revealed that despite the huge funds the government has dumped into various school projects, learning is done under grossly inadequate and dilapidated facilities, as about 80% of schools visited do not have functioning toilets. And this report was written by Chidima Okeke of Daily Trust Foundation.
Now, if you hear that there are no toilets, I wish that it was just that there were no toilets. They are deeper than that. Some of the projects were simply abandoned along the line, and the sordid tales you will hear from our guests in the studio today will make you understand why public schools are as bad as they were. Under the program, the reconstruction or building or construction of schools, there were supposed to be efforts between the federal government and the states, and there are supposed to be counterpart fundings. When you hear how and these funds are either siphoned, unused, or schools completely absent, or some of the projects are not traceable, you understand where we are. And what Adaobi has told you about toilets not being present leads students to engage in open defecation in some of the schools. And many sometimes trek all the way back home to ease themselves during school hours. The teachers are not also exempted from this, as they travel from school to either the bush nearby or homes to get themselves eased up. We have Dr. Theophilus Abba, the director of Daily Trust Foundation, and he's joining us in this conversation because his group, specializing in investigative reports, took years to compile, working with UBEC to find out where the sources of these infractions are. And we want to thank you so much, sir, for joining me on the program.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure to join you this morning to discuss this important subject matter.
You're welcome, sir. And to the parents and guardians out there, you have the opportunity to call in and tell us about the experiences of your children in public schools. Have you visited the schools of recent? Do you know if the condition is conducive?
We want to encourage you to be part of the program, as this is interactive. For those who want to watch us, you can go to PRIMOG page on Facebook. We are there live. And if you have to join us or want to watch back later, go to our YouTube page on YouTube, PRIMOG TV. We're also there. We share all our videos and we share all our contents also on our website, primog.org. That is www.primog.org. And on our news page, where we also get snippets of the stories, you go to news.primog.org. You get all those details. Please click on to subscribe so that you can regularly get our videos, particularly from our YouTube channel, PRIMOG TV. Subscribe so that you can be notified each time we are on air, whether on this station or all the other stations that we broadcast. The telephone lines to send your message today, as we are talking now, and even when you were listening or watching this program, is 090 22656167. I'll take that again. 090 22656167. 67. Remember that this is just for messages only. We'll provide you the phones to numbers to call us in if you want to talk to us in a short while after we have interacted with our guests. But please begin to send your messages now.
Back to our guest from Daily Trust.
And that is Dr. Theophilus Abba.
The report indicated that 29 schools were visited in 4 area councils in the FCT. That is Amak, Abaji, Gwagwalada, and Kuje. What prompted you to investigate those public schools?
And how long did it take you?
Okay, thank you for this opportunity to discuss this subject matter. I want to say that Chidima Okeke carried out this investigation under my supervision, and that is why I'm here to discuss what she discovered.
And the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism were also involved in this.
It was a collaborative effort. Yeah, the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism, they got the funding, and what we did was to use the resources that we have at the Daily Trust, Wole Soyinka Center, Premium Times, to train journalists on the craft of investigative reporting. And then we mentored them. You know, they entered into the field. They gave us feedback at every point. We told them what to do. We edited their stories. We asked them to go back to the field to
verify, get more facts,
you know, to make sure that the story was complete. And eventually, we got the story published. Now, I want to start from the philosophy behind the UBE program in Nigeria. You see, the UBE program UBEC became a legal entity in 2004. And the objective was to ensure that, you see, primary schools and junior secondary schools in Nigeria became compulsory, and that children who attend these schools have the kind of education
and the environment,
yes, to be able to properly live their lives meaningfully if they stop education at junior secondary school. And if you know, in this country, there were times where people completed primary schools. They never went to secondary schools.
Yes.
They read on their own, studied at home, passed GCE. I think it used to be called GCE.
Yes.
And got admission to the universities. Some of them did not even go to the university, by correspondence, they got degrees. So that is the potential in primary or basic education. That after basic education, you should be able
to help yourself functionally.
You see, those are the objectives of UBE project. And now government said, okay, for it to be effective, let's have a fund. And this fund will be accessible by the government, you know, for the construction of schools, provision of facilities, provision of books, training and retraining of teachers, so that these objectives can be achieved. Now, what we have discovered from this investigation is that these objectives can never be achieved because of the corruption involved in the implementation of this project.
Wow.
Now, before Chidima entered into the field, we said, okay, get what we call the action plan for these states that you want to investigate. Now, what we mean by action plan is this. Every state government would, every year, submit the projects they want UBEC to fund to UBEC. Now, they are supposed to have carried what's called needs assessment. Go from, call your, what do you call the education secretary to local government, meet with the commissioner of education.
And draw up an action plan on what they need, what the schools need.
Now, this plan is submitted to UBEC. And UBEC will ask the state government, say, look, we are going to fund this project, but you have to put down 50% of the amount needed.
That is the counterpart fund.
Now, before UBEC releases their own part of the fund, the counterpart fund will be available.
How is it available? They are supposed to pay it into a particular account.
Yes, they are supposed to pay it into an account.
And the federal government, through UBEC, will know that, look, that money is already there. The federal government will now add their own money to it. Now, who does the job?
Now, the issue is this. The contractors submit their quotations.
Contractors by who? Is it the states now, or is UBEC that screens these contractors?
No, it's a SUBEB. There's not
SUBEB. Yeah, the state. Yeah.
They are the ones who would bring the documents. UBEC officials will verify if they do CAC check,
Yes.
to find out whether their office is true, and then they go to locations to be sure that they are on ground doing the work and all this and all that. Now, but the missing link has always been that this project will be started at times, then there's no supervision.
Now, let's just
There's
stop
no
there.
monitoring.
Just stop there, sir, because I want the listener to follow carefully. We have a process that has been carried out. There is a need assessment done. We need 100 million naira for this accident.
Yes.
And they say, okay, because it's 100 million naira, bring 50 million because we will also bring the 50 million. The state government put 50 million naira in the account. So the federal government through UBEC put another 50 million naira in the account. It's understandable to this level.
Yes.
Now, from where where is the corruption coming in from? Is it from the selection of the contractors or the execution of the job? Where do the wings come in with which they fly? Or the
Well,
funds away?
there are issues. First of all, maybe from the execution of the project, and let me explain it. When a contractor is certified, we know that he's good. I understand UBEC is even going to engage
Current to certify that they are
certify that those people that they give the contracts to are genuine
engineers.
So they go to that extent. But we have discovered that some contractors will start a project and they won't be able to complete it.
Why?
And we'll ask them, why didn't you complete this project? They will say, well, I got this contract, but what I was paid was not enough to complete the project.
Now, if there were due diligence, if there were needs assessment, if at the beginning we knew that it was 100 million naira that would be used for this project, and the contractor is hired and they are all screened, including the engineering council, screen all of them, where does the problem come from? Is it that the money disappears before the contractor comes, or what happens?
Well, we are encouraging the investigative agencies who have the legal powers
To ask more questions.
to ask more questions to do so. Because we heard, we don't have enough evidence, we heard that some of the counterpart funds are borrowed from banks.
Let's take it easy.
Yeah.
When the state government gets the information that, look, this is 100 million naira project, and since it's 100 million naira, they will take it 50-50. They go to the bank to borrow their own 50 million naira
Yes.
and put it in an account,
Yes.
so that the federal government can bring in their 50 million naira.
Yes.
So what were they supposed to have borrowed money?
Well, they are supposed
Was it
to raise
supposed
the
to be borrow
from
money or-
whatever source.
Okay, what happens to the borrowed money?
Well, there are cases. I mean, I say there's not enough evidence for what I'm saying now. That we heard that when this money is borrowed and UBEC releases its own part of the money, that the state government may actually pay back.
Okay, they just take the money and give it back to the bank.
Give it back to the bank so that they can use.
So what is left will now be 50 million naira to
Yes.
execute the job.
And then it will
Okay.
not be enough to execute that.
So that is how we find shoddy jobs or abandoned jobs, abandoned projects all over the
It's a hypothesis
Yeah,
anyway.
okay.
We need
No,
a whole lot of-
apart from this line, which other line has your investigation revealed? Is the sure, the one you have seen is the sure way that you have seen this money disappeared?
Well, a whole lot of things have happened. For instance, from this investigation that we are looking at, you get to a school, there's supposed to be a lab built. Then the state government will say, okay, you are UBEC, pay for the lab, pay for the structure. We are going to furnish the lab with equipment and with chemicals or whatsoever.
That
Then
the state
UBEC
government will
contractors-
say, the state government will say, our counterpart funding in this project is to furnish.
Yes.
Let the federal government through UBEC build the structures.
Yes.
Okay, what happens?
Now, the UBEC contractor will carry out the project, build the structure, but there won't be lab. And then we discover that some of these labs, which never function, are converted to staff rooms or where they play baseball and things like that. And then
So the laboratory disappears.
No, you don't. They
You don't even see, there will be no
lab.
lab because they have converted the building.
And we had examples of schools, even in Kaduna, where a project is allocated to a particular community based on this assessment, and because they didn't vote for a particular governor,
The project is moved
is moved from that place to another location. So if you go to where the location
paper,
of the
on
action
paper,
plan,
you will not see
on
it.
the action plan, when you go to that location, so that the project is not there, you ask. They say, well, we were told that we're going to get this, but later we heard that it went to so and so area. I will say, why? So the governor said we didn't vote for him, so the project is moved to another place. Now, but one of the issues, the story that Chidima did from Nasarawa State, she went to a school where there was supposed to be furniture. The structure was supposed to have been put in place, well plastered and all those, and the classroom was dusty. There were no furniture and all those things. And we discovered that, you see, because of the money that is given to contractors, most of the time not enough. These contractors now have to do a shoddy job.
Just to do anything.
Yeah, if they're supposed to tie the floor, for instance, they'll just plaster it with just
Cement.
And when you hit the floor, it will break. And then to continue to expand, the whole place will become...
Meanwhile, it has been written off as completed.
Yes. So if you had, let's assume 10 million to put up that structure, and the contractor got maybe 3 million, you say, well, I have to do something. With this 3 million, I must gain. You put 2 million into it, and at the end of the day, it's not the kind of job that is in the specification. So we've had abandoned, those ones that were not even traced. For instance, there's this gatehouse in Central Pilot School, Karo, in FCT, which was in 2015 action plan. The gatehouse was not built. There was this 2.3 million for the rehabilitation of 2 classrooms in Rimba, Gwari, Abaji, FCT in 2011, which was not done. There was the recreational facility worth 3.9 million, which had been paid for. It was for Nahariti Social Primary School, Abaji. It wasn't done. There was 30.5 million construction of 8 classroom staff room, 4 offices and 2 toilets. GSS Anagada in Gwagwalada, it was not done. So we have a whole lot of projects worth millions of naira. They were not done. They were just not done. So you see, what may have happened hypothetically is that, well, the FCT may have got the counterpart from wherever it sourced the money,
and then
put
took it back,
in the money in their account. When UBEC money came, they
returned the money to where it came from. Yeah.
But
and what happens is you just sign documents. You just sign document. A sheet of paper to say, well, it was executed, sign. Then, in your back office, you may actually discover that the project was completed.
But if you go to site,
but you go on site, you discover there is nothing there.
But during your investigation, did you reach out to officials in FCT?
Well, that was one of the difficult encounters that Chidima had, because the FCT would tell us that they told her that they wouldn't be able to speak until they got an official permission from SUBEB. So the head teachers will not talk, the principals will not speak to you, because the SUBEB, that is FCT SUBEB, had not given them instruction to speak. And FCT SUBEB will not speak to you, maybe because the secretary in charge of education has not given them permission.
If you go to meet the secretary will tell you that.
Who is now authorized to speak when everybody
we had to go to
speak?
UBEC, tendered all this evidence that we had before UBEC.
This thing must have taken you a long time.
It took over 6 months, because at the point Chidima was frustrated, because I told her that we can't publish this story except we hear
the other
from
side.
UBEC or SUBEB. If UBEC is putting this money in this project, and I like the word I used earlier, dumping. I'm not happy that we use that word dumping, but that is like what happened.
Yes, you dump the money and then you go.
If you have 530 million, which is a whole lot of money, it can change a lot of things. If you have project worth 530 million, not traced. We're not even talking of the ones that were executed, but were not properly. We are saying that this project worth this sum of money
cannot even be
traced. It means that the money had been dumped. So in my recommendations I made, one of them, I said EFCC and ICPC should be involved in UBEC funded projects. They should go after the contractors. if they go after the contractor
The contractor
and
will
capture
reveal
them,
what happened, yes.
they'll say, well, these are the things that happened, these are my collaborators. They will have to vomit this money that is swallowed. Because 530 million can change
A primary school
I mean, not
A whole
can
talking
change
of
the
very
life
many
of
schools.
Yes.
You know, and that is why students come out of schools, primary schools, they cannot write their names. They cannot, I mean, they can't write an essay. I remember when I was in primary 2, primary 3, we were already writing essays. But now somebody is in primary 3, you just construct a sentence, independently, creatively becomes a problem. These are the reasons. It's not because these children...
And the reason why nobody
want
so many parents don't want to send their children to public schools.
public schools. That's not the reason.
We also open the phones. We want you to interact with us. You may not even have children in public schools, but you know what we are talking about. You also want to tell us why your children are not in public schools. And for the children who are in public schools, if you have anything to do with public schools, tell us your experiences. Because under the law in Nigeria, your child is entitled to a decent education, to school in a good environment. And that is why the UBEC and the SUBEC, all of them came up, like Dr. Abba tried to explain, that we needed to have a situation where a child, by the time you are finishing at JSS, you can stand on your, for goodness sake, Dr. Abba, some of us were taught in secondary school by students who attended secondary school.
I
mean, my general science teacher was somebody who left school a year before, secondary school a year before I entered. He was a student just last year in the secondary school, and he taught me general science.
We have it in us, like linguists will tell you. They'll tell you that, look, everybody has the inbuilt capacity to speak language, to pick any language. The only thing that you need to do is to help them to develop it. This inner potential. There is no child that is not intelligent. It depends on how the child is brought up.
The environment and the opportunities.
Destroying children. We are destroying human beings in this country by not giving them the proper education. And when government has said, okay, this is the money, and to facilitate this good education, and this money is stolen.
But let me ask you a question. I think Ada tried to ask you just now. Is it that when they release their own money, they don't monitor the accounts? I mean, when the federal government through UBEC releases their own money, they say, okay, you have paid yours, we are not breaking our own money. They just leave it there, they don't ask what happens?
Well, UBEC tried to impress on us that what they do is a kind of intervention. Secondary education belongs to state government.
So they don't go deep into... They just dump the money and
they don't monitor the project.
They expect that the state government should monitor the execution of this project because they should have interest.
Is SUBEC, by your investigation, are they tied in any way to the Ministry of Education? Or they operate autonomously?
I think SUBEC is a wing of the Ministry of Education.
If they are a wing of the Ministry of Education, it means the state government, as it were, has a ministry that should supervise, take a look at some of... I'm just trying to track the weaknesses in the system.
Well, I think the weakness in the system is not about the system. It's about the integrity of Nigerians. It's not everything that is in place, that should be in place is in place. You have the monitoring and supervision unit.
They are there.
Then
maybe the only thing that is not there, Dr. Abba. Maybe
before the funds are released.
Yes.
Before the last tranche of the fund is released, there is somebody who was supposed to have gone on site to ensure that the project was done in line with specification.
Now,
the documents are signed that this project was executed in line.
And done.
So the everything that needs to be put in place to ensure that this thing
on paper everything is done.
Yeah, so that's why I blame it on the lack of integrity.
Nigeria.
Now, let me also add this. We see this particularly in private schools where you have parent teachers association. Parents who send these children to these schools, communities, should they not also take possession of this? If a project is going to be executed, should they not be interested? What is the contractor doing? At least get the papers to say this is what is supposed to be supplied.
Yes.
Shouldn't Nigerians take
well, yes, you are right. What has happened is that action plans are seen as secret documents. We have canvassed that, look, under Open Government Partnership, the action plan of every state should be on the internet. It should be on UBEC website so that anybody who wants to know
Who
the
have
action
access
plan
to it.
of Kogi State or Benue, wherever, should be able to say, okay, what is Benue State government asking UBEC to do? You know, it should be. But right now, it is a secret document. Nobody has access to it. Now, what we discovered is that in many communities, when we ask PTA chairmen, you know, what has happened? They say, well, we did not even know that this project was going to be, carried out here. We just saw one man, you know, drove a jeep from Abuja and asked for a space.
And we gave him a
structure.
space.
We say, okay, well, this place has been abandoned for some time. Use this place, and they begin to put. We don't even know what they come to. We don't even know what they sign. We don't know the agreement with government. So, and there are instances where head teachers or school principals will tell us that, look, we didn't know. You know,
we don't even know what was.
They just came and said, well, they have a big project. They did not consult us. In some schools, you are building, you are constructing toilets.
A laboratory. You don't even know who is building it.
That is not their need.
And that's exactly not their. You don't even have water facility. You are doing what do you call it?
System toilet.
They don't have a well. They don't have a borehole.
So when was the needs assessment done? How do they do the needs assessment? Well, let us not even go to that. But we are also looking at how to solve the problem. We will soon open the phone now. I think we can open the phones now. The mosques, the churches, religious leaders, traditional leaders in communities must know that it is not enough to pray. It is not enough to pray. It is not enough to ask everybody to pray for how the society will be good. They should set up committees to follow up with what the developments are in their communities. They should go to schools and find out what is happening. Let there be committees set up in every mosque, in every church, on community projects that is going on, whether in school or in the hospitals. That is the only way, one of the ways to also check this corruption. And I think we can open the phone lines. Now, let's hear from you and let us go straight. Share your experiences with us. Hello.
Hello, this is Suleiman. You're here on the line.
Suleiman, thank you for joining us. You heard the stories.
Yes. Okay. The part of the problem is that, just as we have just said, the needs assessment are not being done. The PTA, the head of teachers, the headmistress, all of these people who manage the school are not carried along. The problem is with the UBEC and where decisions are being taken as regards this project. And the way forward is PTA, principals, head teachers need to be carried along. They need to let them know that these are our problems, this is what we need, and then they liaise with the contractors, and then they tell the contractor, look, go and meet the PTA chairman, go and meet the head teacher, so that they can, in collaboration, execute this project to the specification. Unless things like that are done, if you don't give the ownership to the community, to the PTA, to the parents, there will always be problems. And that is the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Suleiman. Hello.
Hello, Additional.
Ade, thank you.
I'm calling from Abuja. You asked a very pertinent question. Why won't we allow our children go to government schools? Earlier, is anybody in government today that have their children in the public schools? Are you with me?
I'm with you. Maybe El-Rufai only, who took his child to public school.
That is political. And even if it is El-Rufai alone, it's an abuse. There is nobody in governance in Nigeria today that has a child in the public school. Do you know why? They understand the intrigues of the BEM.
What's the way forward?
Let me tell you something. When I was in local job, anytime you BEM announce contract, it's a time for jubilation. The moment the contracts are out, people bring knives and cutlasses and apportioning within themselves and the UBEM officials and, by extension, those the Ministry of Education. It is the leftover that is used to manipulate the destiny of the people. I don't know if you understand.
So what should be the way forward? Why is everybody help over this?
The way forward is until a model of responsibility is indoctrinated. Let me give you an example. If you know, there is this school called Living Faith, Kingdom Heritage.
Where?
The man model the church project such that parents are involved in anything that has to do with projects.
So we should also replicate that at the public schools. Okay.
When there is a sense of belonging, the sense of ownership.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's give opportunity to so many people who also want to interact with us. Hello.
Hello, my name is Daniela. I'm calling from Jabi.
Eniola, do you have any child, anybody who is close to you in public schools?
No.
Okay, tell us your own perspective.
I don't think any Nigerian will risk it. If you can afford anything small, you'd rather put your children to a private school.
But why are we running away from it?
Okay. As a personal testimony, I ran into some problems financially and decided that one of my children should go to a public school just to ease the
finances. Yeah.
My wife cried that day and called everybody she needed to call for me to change that decision.
But if you need to sell the only car you have, you go and sell it so that you can take your child.
Yes, that was what she said.
Yeah.
She actually shed tears and I changed that decision. So, but the point I'm making is that one of the things, and I think that they said the corruption strive in darkness. One of the ways of stopping some of these things is to continue to shed the light. Through this open governance project, I saw that Kaduna publishes their budgets, publishes even the contractors and everything is on their website. That is what I heard. That is what that report says. And some other states and some other government agencies have started.
So we should be more open.
Huh?
We should be more open.
Yes, I think that we should keep on shining the light. There's this Budeshi program. Let them keep on Budeshi in the whole thing.
All right, thank you.
Little by little, people will start getting scared, and I think the thing will percolate, and Nigeria will be better.
Thank you so much. Hello.
Hello, good day, Mr. Uria.
Thank you so much, sir. Your name and where you? Benga, thank you so much. Yeah.
Uria, the problem starts with the procurement process. But let us somebody say, when they announce that there's a UBEX project, you see both the director of the ministry, both the governor's wife, governor's son, they become contractor. It doesn't pass through the normal process because the states have now adopted the BP Act, that's the Bureau of Procurement Act. They have not adopted that procurement act.
So it's on the desk of the governors. Yeah, it's on the desk of the governors. The contracts are given out. They don't even.
Yes.
Yeah, it's part of the political patronage.
So before you know it, they are used as patronage and they are not executed and they are paid. That is one of the basic things.
So Subek,
if you go to UBEX here,
yes,
in Abuja here, the federal government comes here. They advertise on Tedder Journal. It's just for formalities. From the state, you will see senator, House of Rep, bringing their companies. There is a constituency. I'm going to bring the project. In the end, the money will go into private pocket. So that's the foundation that needs to be cured.
Wow.
The procurement process.
Wow.
It's not transparent.
Thank you, the procurement. We will get Dr. Abba to react what they also find out in this procurement process. But let's continue to harvest your thoughts because we can take as many as 4 more calls before we wrap up.
Hello.
Hello.
Here is my name. I'm from Central area.
Thank you.
Yes, about supervision. Mine is about supervision. One of the, I think the guest is talking about bringing in the church, the mosque, the community leaders. And I want to try to start whether we have witnessed what happens when building committees in churches. Building committees in churches. You have provided it shows pipeline, ATM for the members.
So corruption will also spread to the religious centers.
In the palaces.
Wow.
Oh, because you must water the ground. First of all, you water the ground, do everything. Then I don't know about mosque because I'm not a Muslim. So, for the again said integrity of Nigeria. My brother, I think Nigeria needs to be switched off so that we can
reset. All right, thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Chibueze Ukadike.
Yeah, Chibueze, thank you for joining us on the program. Can you make it as brief as possible?
Yes, the only thing that will fit this, I've listened to so many people complain and many people's objection. But the only thing that will fit for this is capital punishment. If we can start with capital punishment for each and every contracts don't being executed, they serve their own punishment by sentencing by hanging or firing spot. I think all these things will reduce.
We should go China because that's what they do in China. If you steal, you are executed.
It will reduce. If we can do it, that's the only thing that will solve this issue.
Okay,
if you take it to anywhere, that's the only thing that will solve the issue.
All right, thank you. That you are very angry. You want people to be executed. Hello.
My name is Godwin.
Godwin, thank you.
All right. First of all, let me thank you for this program. I've been following this program from different platforms. So
thank you so much.
It has been educating us and exposing some adults in the society. Coming back to the UBEC issue, I think the thing like one of the call say, tax capital punishment for any 1 million naira embezzled would serve as a good deterrent. So we can move us in a very fast pace.
All right.
Moreover, every contract should be signed under camera, so that an announce, even if 1% is used for advert or radio, so that there will be followership. People will follow and find out what that project is actually going on or not.
All right.
We should be more
open.
On camera and on radio.
All right. Thank you so much. We can take our last call now. Hello.
Yeah, my name is Frank Paul. I'm calling from Suleja.
Yeah, Frank, thank you for joining us. And now we have the UBEC and SUBEC turned into a cesspool of corruption in the implementation of the project.
I'm aware. I'm
Yes.
following the discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to contribute to the side of the government that is in collaboration with that agency.
Yes.
There's no project that is built on a faulty foundation that will ever stand. Please let the government be honest and sincere enough. If you are going to put 50 million from your own part, put it there. Don't go and borrow from anywhere, and let it be there for the completion of that project.
Because the reason they go to borrow is because they don't probably have the money, but they want to get the federal government counterpart funding. So they put the money there, and then when the federal government money comes, they quickly remove it and take it back to the bank. It's one piece of information that can get you. You enunciating. I mean, you just think it's not possible.
It's deception, actually.
Hey, how did we get to this level? Now, let's take just one more. I think we can take one more. Let's see if that will be brief enough. Hello? Hello, sir.
Yes, my name is Mike When Wind Blows.
When Wind Blows. Go ahead, please.
Yes. My own is until all those in our public offices are meant to patronize our public schools, we'll still be singing the same song till the kingdom come.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. We should all public officials should send their children to public schools. Now, just before we go, Dr. Abba, we have what is the solution to this problem? We have confidence in the system we have trust in the system and giving some people opportunity to pretend over this, but they are not doing it. We are seeing corruption in them. What is left for society? What is the National Assembly doing? National Assembly is supposed to have a role in monitoring, oversighting. For SUBEC and UBEC, there are under some committees, either in the National Assembly or in the State Assembly. Who is to be held responsible for some of these things?
Okay.
Who has a role to play that is not playing it?
You know, what we're discussing is actually issues that are under the law. And the law is supposed to be a deterrent, and the law prescribes punishment. And I'm feeling strongly that unless individuals are punished, unless companies are punished, those who engage in corrupt practices are punished, there will not be deterrence. For instance, if after this story that we have done, EFCC, goes through it, does further investigation, because EFCC has authority to invite people to answer questions.
Yes.
Journalists.
And you have all the facts on your web. Maybe those who are listening to us want to go to your website to read the story, the details of the story. Where's the direct link to your website?
Well, if you say 311 million school projects in ruins across FCT Nasarawa,
it will pop up.
You say Dash Daily Trust. You access the story. But what I want to say is that if the EFCC and the ICPC will say, look, Daily Trust has done this story, let us follow up. Because they have the authority to arrest, they have the authority to prosecute. Journalists don't have the authority to prosecute.
We can't even go beyond exposing the corruption.
We can only expose. We're exposing because Section 22 gives us the what you call the responsibility
to hold the government
accountable. That is all. We just publish. If the agencies of government that can prosecute will take it forward, we'll say, look, let's look at all that journalists have reported as far as this issue is concerned. Let's investigate.
Even though they have access to these reports on the daily basis in the newsstand, did you make effort to invite the EFCC to this or the ICPC?
Well, part of the intelligence gathering mechanism of the EFCC and ICPC, it's actually to go through newspapers, watch TV and radio. It's part of their intelligence gathering method. So we know that they buy our newspapers.
Because if they don't have much files, they can actually invite you to say, please come and assist us. Through more light, you have pictures, you have photographs.
They can actually invite us and we'll give them all the evidence that we have.
But so far, nobody has invited you.
But I think something is happening in the constituency project right now because ICPC
is working on it.
Into it. And it is actually changing the atmosphere as far as the constituency project is concerned. We're expecting that maybe ICPC or maybe EFCC should take up the issue of UBE funded project. Because if that is not done, we'll keep on pumping money into a bottomless pit. It will enter into people's pockets and will not get the desired result.
I think at the level of Primark, we're also trying to initiate some work with the ICPC. At this level, when we have all this amplification, we also present it to them. And our websites also reach. All these reports are also on our websites. The amplification models, they are all on our website, www.primorg.org. Primorg is PRIMORG. And you can go to our YouTube page, subscribe, and you get all the information as they come. But you can also watch all the videos on that Primark TV. Apart from that, our news page, news.primorg.org, have all the nuggets, all the stories you want to hear. And if you go to the Daily Trust website, you search, you get some of these stories. Not just Daily Trust, we have the Premium Times of this world, we have Cable, we have ICIR, all of them are cooperating with us. We are working with them to expose this corruption. It does appear that even when they are published, Nigerians don't take action. So we are asking and urging all the relevant authorities to take action. Ask questions. Find out how we can reduce this corruption. This corruption is killing everybody. And we are just watching as if we are all completely helpless.
I also want to quickly add that if the SUBEB chairman can key into the open contracting data standard rather, because it enables disclosure of data and documents at all stages of contracting process.
Yes. And unfortunately, the information we have about UBEC and SUBEC is that if you call them, they will not come. Because they are all, I wouldn't want to say, or let me not be too flat and say they are all involved in it, but they seem to have sympathy. If you call them, we are going to write to them formally and ask them to come on this program to come and explain their own side. But what somebody has told us is that they will not come. And it took Daily Trust over 6 months to even get them to react to some of the reports. They kept it from one desk to the other because it does appear that everybody's fingers is in it. That's why people ask, do we have the minister in charge? I mean, there are things that ought to be taken for granted that Dr. Abba, it's so frustrating.
Well, I want to say that we don't have evidence that UBEC is involved in corruption. We don't have evidence. But then the system seems to allow, corruption.
When they are not monitoring the money they give out, they just wait and dump the money somewhere and go away.
I understand what they want to do now is to ensure that current or advertising practitioners association of Nigeria or professional bodies are brought in to help to monitor the execution of this project. So it's not just the civil servants. They are coming up with ideas.
Okay.
And we're expecting that as soon as those things, are implemented, there will be reduction in this rate of corruption.
Okay.
And we have to go now.
Yes, we have to go. Kindly visit the news page of our website, which is news.primorg.org. Primorg is spelled PRIMORG. Our videos are on Primorg TV, our YouTube channel, and on our website, primark.org.
And we want to thank everyone out there, those who called and those who listened to us, who participated in this conversation, and ensure that you demand your children's rights from the government. They have the right to be to have a conducive learning environment and access to all basic amenities required in schools. Don't forget to send us a message if you missed it out, 09022656167. You can send us a message. And Public Conscience on Radio is supported by the John T. and Catherine D. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information at macfound.org. And I want to add, as we sign off, that we want to wish Dr. College Shetima and Amina Salihu happy birthdays today. And we have Dr. College Shetima being 60 and Amina being 50. I called Amina yesterday to tell her, welcome to the Club of Elders. We want to thank you for being a part of the program.
Amina is not an elder.
Thank you all for joining us. I am Adao Biojabumo.
And I'm Okiri Agbonsu. Remy, join us next week for another episode of Public Conscience on Radio.
Thank you.